Hi, I'm Jay Scruggs, and this is Sue Zecco. We're here at Pet Quest live in Wilmington, Ohio, at the Barkley Grooming Competition. So we're basically going to show you a couple of things. For instance, I'm going to pretend that I'm the competitor, and Sue's going to be the judge. So we're just going to kind of work around what these contestants are going through and what the judges are going through, what they're thinking, what they're looking for, that sort of thing, to kind of give you a little insider scoop on the grooming competition. Maybe we should get Todd Shelley, the president of Barkley, to come in with us. That'd be a great thing for him to do. So basically what we're going to let Todd do, he's been demoted, so we're going to let him hold the dog. Okay, could you stack it up for us, Todd? Sure. Okay, I'm just kidding. Why don't you hold the mic and I'll hold the dog?
That's even better, yes.
Okay, so we have our mic holder here. I'm basically going to be, I'm the competitor. I'm stacking up the dog. I'm just getting it prepared for the judge to go over it. So I'm going to kind of move around the dog as Sue moves around it and while she's looking at it, and she's going to kind of explain what she's looking for and what she's checking, and we're just kind of do a mock grooming contest here.
And we just want you to remember that this dog, we just did a really, really fast 1-hour seminar on a very overgrown dog, so don't judge our grooming here. So this is basically just to show you what a contestant goes through. First of all, when they say scissors down, what the contestant has to do is put their equipment down right away. Clean off your table. Do you have to do that? Clean off your table as fast as possible. You want to get all the hair off. It's also important to remember to pick up the bottoms of the feet, clean off the feet. If you keep in your tack box, if you keep like a little whisk broom or even wipes, because those will kind of pick up all the fine little hairs, clean yourself off too. So as the judge is going to be looking at, you want the whole overall picture to be a very professional picture. So it's important to dress properly when you're in the ring. Don't wear jeans and a t-shirt. Wear grooming apparel that you can very, quickly clean off, and just to make sure that when the judge steps back to look at the dog, there isn't anything obstructing it. Take the arm off of the table. Is that what you're going to say? Oh, take the arm off of the table so that you can see the whole dog and the judge doesn't have to work around the arm. Be careful that your equipment is away from the table, so as the judge, or judges in this case, walk around the table, they're not going to be tripping over things. So try to and do that as quickly as possible, because the sooner you can get your dog stacked and looking good, the judges have their eyes on you at this point at all times. So you want to try to get them looking good right away.
Okay, and what I like to do, try not to blow your hair on the fellow competitor's table or on the fellow competitor's dog or anything like that. But a good trick is once you get all the hair off the table, if you have a dog that has the similar color hair around you, if you'll just take your foot and sweep their hair underneath your table, then it looks like you did a lot more work, and that's a great tip for competitors.
Don't do that. He's kidding. Is he? No, he's not, because he used to do that all the time. He's a cheater. No, just kidding. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do as a judge is in kind of halfway through the class, I'm watching the competitors and I'm seeing what they're doing, the techniques that they're using, and I'm kind of a mental picture of what I like from profile. So just standing outside the ring, I can see if this is the correct profile for a poodle. Knowing your breed standard, the nice tail set, the long neck, the arch to the neck, the level top line, the parallel lines in the legs. So as I'm kind of walking around, waiting for the contestants to get their dogs all stacked and ready, I'm kind of getting a little mental visual of what I like on the dog. Now, one of the reasons why we wanted to explain this to you is because when you're sitting as a spectator, what you see down on the floor or what I see when I'm looking at the dogs from the outside of the ring might be totally different once I put a comb to that dog and start pulling up long hairs and checking the clipper work and everything. So I'm just going to walk around and I'm going to look at profile first. Now, I'm going to have Jay explain to you what he's doing when he's actually stacking the dog, as far as keeping the nose down to show the arch in the neck.
Okay, so basically what I want to do is I want to work my way around the dog when Sue's working her way around the dog. I want to stay out of her way. I want to have my hands clear of anything she's going to touch. So once she takes the dog's head, I'm going to move around towards the dog's tail to give her free rein. And I want to keep this dog stacked up in as good a position as possible. So we want to make sure the front legs are underneath her, the back legs are in the right place. Just because if we do all this work as far as putting a lot of effort into grooming this dog. We don't want to let the dog slouch or get really relaxed on the table, because that throws off the whole profile. So you want to make sure when she lets go of that dog's head, I stack the dog right back up. So every time she may glance back at a certain area, I want to make sure everything is nice and neat and in line with the rest of the dog.
Now, as a judge, as a contestant, what I used to do is watch how my judge combs, because everybody does things a little bit differently. So it really is important, like with any sport, that you, that you know what the person that's judging you is going to be looking for, or how they go about what their procedure is. I have had judges go over my dog where they just barely touch the comb through the dog, and then I've had judges pick up the foot and comb all the way this way and give the leg a good shake. So I try to watch the way the judge actually combs, and usually my last time around the dog, like the last, say, 15 minutes of the dog, I try to comb the way the judge is going to, so I can see if anything is going to fall out of place. So what I'm going to start to do is I just kind of I check my clipper work, I check the lips for clean hairs, the clipper work around the face, and I check in between the toes, around the toenails. So I'm looking for technical at first. Then I'm going to take my comb and I'm going to lift the coat away from the dog, give it a little bit of a shake, and then put it back down where the foot belongs. Now it's also Jay's job here to make sure that as I put the foot down, he restacks the dog immediately, so that every time I get around this dog, he knows he has it looking good no matter what angle I'm coming from. So I usually start by going through the front end of the dog. I'm going to put her foot back down. I'm going to take her head, and I'm going to check my top knot. Like I said, we did this really quick, so. And I'm going to look to see if the dog is balanced from head to tail. So I'm looking to see if the neck flows into the shoulder nice and smooth on both sides, if the clipper work is clean, the scissor work is clean, the top knot is balanced, all your lines underneath here are nice and clean. And a lot of times you'll see judges will check the length of the dog, so they'll actually compare using their comb as a measure from one side to the other to see if the dog is well balanced. Now I'm gonna work around the dog. I'm combing the top line. I'm looking for a level top line with a nice tail set. And it's a good idea, whatever comb that you used when you scissored the dog is the comb that you're going to hand to the judge, because you don't want the judge to pick up a comb, something with maybe like closer teeth than what you use, because that's going to pull out more hair. So you want to be sure that the judge is going to comb the dog with the same comb that you used. And it's always a good idea to have another comb, so that as I'm going through the dog and pulling up long hairs, he's going to go back and fix them. So by the time I get back around, he's going to, and a good judge knows, but he's going to try to hide anything that I pull out. Again, I'm looking for my parallel lines, so I want to make sure that both back legs, the lines are nice and parallel on both sides. The back legs measure the same. You want to check the feet again, so I check the front feet, I check the back feet for clean clipper work, I check around the cuffs to see if there's any scragglies. I check the tail to make sure that everything's balanced, and then I look at the dog from the tail to the head, because I can see the balance on the dog. If it's really loaded in the shoulders or thicker through the neck, I can see by looking straight at the dog. So I like to examine the dog from front to back and from back to front. Okay, then once I've combed through the dog, I want to step back and look at it one more time. And you can see some of the common mistakes that people will make is, and a lot of times this happens with your entry-level contestants because they haven't done it before and you're nervous and everything. But one of the common mistakes that they make when they're stacking is they bring the head up and the tail up. And what that does is totally ruins your top line. It takes away the arch in the dog's neck. It takes away the nice level top line. So you want to be sure that you as you're trying to stack, and by this time, a lot of times the poodles are tired, and they'll actually kind of sink into their shoulders, and they'll elbow out. So it's your job as a contestant to, he's actually lifting her up onto her toes and really kind of pulling her up into a straighter position, keeping her nose down and keeping that nice arch to her neck. And that's going to give her a nice level top line, and it's going to really kind of square her up and pull everything together and make her look more balanced. And I like to, walk around the dog and look at both sides. Sometimes one side looks a lot better than the other. And if that's the case, as you're the contestant, make sure that that's the side you keep showing to the judge. It's really nice when you have a rotating table that you can just keep spinning it. But if you have one side that you like more, show that side to the judge as often as you can. Tell them how you're doing that.
Oh, this standard poodle, she's gotten a little bit tired because she's been on the table for a long time. So as you can see, the more tired she gets, the more her top line starts to sag, and it looks like she has a dip in her top line. So I was just giving her a little bit of a poke underneath to try to level her top line out.
Another thing that I found as a contestant, and again, because this breed, you want them to be as fresh and crisp as possible before you actually start the competition. So this dog has gone from the tub to the drying table, to being combed out, then the pre-judging, then the competition, then the final judging. It's a long time for these dogs to have to stand. So I like to put an anti-fatigue mat on the table for the dog, and I just think it kind of saves their feet. It makes them just gives them a little bit more comfort. And another thing to remember when the judges are going over the dog, after I'm done this dog and I move on to the next dog, I might be comparing in my head. So it's important to always keep your dog stacked until the judge tells you, okay, you can relax your dog. And most judges will try to be aware of that. If they've got a good idea in their head, they'll tell the contestants to go ahead and relax. But you don't want to let your dog lay down or crawl into your lap and give it a hug and put your hands all over it when the judge isn't actually done. Because even though you might not think you're in the running compared to everybody else, you might actually have a good shot at it. And there's no way the judge is going to know if the dog is not properly stacked through the whole time. So make sure that you watch where the judge is at all times, and make sure that your dog is looking good and facing the judge and unobstructed from anything else.
Okay, one thing, as a competitor, I know the competitors get really nervous when they're up there, so I always try to make sure you have something to wipe your hands with, if you're getting sweaty hands, and putting them on the dog, and just try to relax as much as possible, because these dogs will pick up on your nervous energy, and it makes them nervous, and then everybody looks tense. So, and this should be a really relaxed environment, and everybody should have fun. So, and I know we have a grooming competition going on right now, and maybe Todd can tell you what's going to be coming up for the rest of the day, so you can tune in and watch for the rest of the day as far as the contests go.
We want to do some finishing touches on her too. Yeah, Angela's going to come in and show us how to do this.
Okay. So my job's done.
Okay, so as soon as we're done, Todd will come in. Angela, if you'll come where we can see you on TV. No, we'll wait. So I know, especially where we are, the feathers have become very popular as far as the girls putting them in the hair, as far as, like, I have 3 daughters and they all have feathers in their hair for whatever reason. I thought it was ridiculous that everybody was getting those, but now it's become a trend. So Angela has transformed that trend from people to dogs. So what Angela is going to be doing is she's going to show how to insert a feather into the dog's hair, and this does not hurt the dog. It basically is just a little fashion statement. It's going to look flashy. It's going to get attention drawn to your dog. So this is a good idea if you are a groomer in a shop and you want to come by Angela's booth here this weekend. I'm sure she has these to sell, and I'm sure she could give you tips and tricks on how to do it, and look at her DVD she has over there and that sort of thing. So but she is the creative groomer. So if you want to learn any creative grooming tips, visit Angela here today, or you can catch these tips that we're going to do here real quick.
Thank you. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to part the hair. I'm going to get him to hold the mic. Okay, we're going to part the hair because we want to hide the bead that's going to be holding the feather in. And I've just got a hair clip. We're just going to clip this hair up out of the way. Your nice top knot there messing up. And then we have a hair tool, and you just take these crimp beads. They're little metal beads. Then this is what holds the feather in, and you slide it onto your hair tool. You're just going to get a small strand of hair, kind of twist it, and this hair tool has a hook on it. So the hook pulls the hair through the bead, maybe. Of course, when it's live, you can't do it. Usually this works on longer hair, just a little bit easier. There we go. Usually I put them in the ears, but we're going to go right above the ear. All right. I don't know if y'all can see that. Now that we have the bead on the hair, I'm holding the hair. And I'm just going to take whichever feathers I select. And I'm going to slide it up into the crimp bead. And then you take your little needle nose pliers, and you're just going to flatten this bead. Make sure you're away from the scalp.
So is that basically like a little metal piece of metal that you're squeezing like on a wire clamp or something?
Yes, it's just a little metal bead, and you flatten it with these pliers. In order to remove the bead, you squeeze the bead the other way. It will open it back up. You throw the bead away. The feathers are reusable. They can stay in. If the dog doesn't mess with them, they can stay in up to a month. They are washable, so you can save the feathers and reuse them. You just have to do a new bead. And it works a little bit better if you have a longer coat on the ear. See how this is kind of standing out? Oops. This is kind of standing out. If the hair is longer, instead of getting close to the scalp, if you get down a little further, it will lay flatter. But he's got short hair up here, so. But just make sure when you put it in that you don't get the scalp, that you stay away from the scalp.
Now, do you sell all the tools and everything?
I do sell all the tools. We have a kit that's got all the tools, and it's got 100 of the crimp beads. And we also sell the feathers, but they're very easy to make yourself. You can go to Michael's or Hobby Lobby and get feathers, and it's really easy to make your own feather extensions.
Okay, thank you, Angela. And we will look forward to seeing your creative grooming design this afternoon.
We can do blow pins on Jay's head.
We are not doing blow pins on Jay's head. If you're doing it on Jay's head, we're getting Todd over here. We're going to do Todd and Jay's head. So we're going to give you a nice toupee. So.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to put feathers in my hair.
Bruin symbol on there for their hockey win.
I don't know. You kind of Steven Tyler look at the feathers and stuff. That was really great. That's a lot of information. So I want to remind everybody that this stuff is all recorded. You can go to the Ustream channel anytime and watch these. After they're completed, you can go back and watch them. So this one is going to be completed after awards today. Then we'll start a second video. So you can actually go back and watch everything that they went over. I'd also like to remind anybody in the Cincinnati, Dayton, Columbus area that would like to come down, and Kentucky. Yeah. And you know that how?
Because he thinks it's somewhere near here.
I actually heard that you said on air, you're like, Kentucky must be close to here because we're getting a lot of people.
What I meant was, and I have to redeem myself, what I meant was normally when you live in the South, we don't look at anything further than Kentucky because once you get into the North, it really doesn't matter. So everything, all of the southern states is what we care about. So in school, they just make us study the southern states. We don't have to learn the others.
So we just lost our northern demographic. Thanks, Jay. With those who went to the J. Scruggs School of Geography, Kentucky's practically walking distance from here. That's why that's kind of funny. But you can see all this great humor from Jay from yesterday. He was on quite a bit yesterday. And then, so later on today, we're gonna have more of Jay. Yeah, unless you get voted off. We're doing like a live poll. One person gets voted off.
That's what they do on American Idol.
Yes. So to vote for Jay. That's the vote you off, they call. They give you a number. Yeah. So we have. Yeah. You have to do this all the time, and you agree to it. Which I guess explains why you get paid more than Jay when we do the. Oh, darn! That's how embarrassing. That's not true. At noon, we're doing the Nature Specialties Awards, and that's our Open Division Open Division Salon Freestyle is for that one. We have the other divisions. At 5 is the Tropiclean Awards, and that Open Division is the Poodles. So Poodles will be at 5 today. And tomorrow we have the Creative, where you'll be able to see Angela. Not to put you on the spot, but I believe this is going to be a new one, isn't it?
Yes. This is going to be a new design. I have to tell you why. My goal was to go on stage with a white dog and make a total transformation. So I had a fairly simple but elegant design picked out that I thought I could place with. And Miss Lori Craig decided she needed props and helped me out with an extremely difficult idea. And I'm here with a dog with no color and no pre-cutting. So there's no cutting it and letting it grow for 6 weeks. We still have the old design on that we're hoping is going to cut off out of the way. So we'll see what happens.
And I will say, I don't want to give too much away, but I will say that there will be something done tomorrow that I don't think's ever been done before in a creative contest. Do you know what I'm talking about? Well, no, okay. So even yeah, well, I think we're having a little bit of a surprise. So that's tomorrow. That the presentations will start at 3:30, but you'll be able to watch the whole day going up, leading up to that. And 12:15 tomorrow is the Best in Show Awards. So everybody who's winning these different levels yesterday and today are going to be those Best in Show will be done tomorrow. Tomorrow at 12:15. So that's all I got.
Call. 7.
To vote off. That's all right. And of course, calls from Kentucky are long distance because that's pretty far away. All right, so I guess nothing else.
We'll have a couple more demos later too. I'll be back with a couple creative demos later on in the day. We're going to do some beading and do a little bit of blow pin work on Jay's head. He needs it. So we'll be back later on.
All right, and Jay and Sue will also be back quite a bit, hopefully. And now back to the competition.